What's up, guys? It's up, PG Mr. Dual here again with another video. This time I'm just going to be showing you my Fischl build and kind of how I'm trying to actually structure her at the moment. So let's get right into it. The first thing I just want to show, as you can see on the right, is the 12,000 HP, the 1,605 attack, and 573 defense with the 317 elemental mastery. The two main points that I'm building at the moment is the attack and elemental mastery. As of now, AR 35 and plus. I'm not AR 40 just yet. Show you some details. I have an extra 1,028 attack, extra 4,904 HP, and really the main thing you want to look at for the elemental reaction is this one, the second sentence. Overload, superconduct, electrocharge, shatter, and swirls is increased by 123%. I'm not sure when the elemental mastery actually increases the percentage. I know that I think there's specific brackets. Say like 200 will increase it by, it would be like 80, and then 300 would be like 100%. I don't think like adding 20 elemental mastery raises this by a lot. I think you have to add it by chunks, but I could be wrong. If somebody could correct me on that, then just put it in the comments below. Next is the critical rate and critical damage. This is something I'm looking into. I think I want at least a 40% critical rate and hopefully a higher critical damage. I'm not too sure if Oz actually procs the critical rate and critical damage as of yet. I don't really look at it too much, but I'm pretty sure it does. So this is something I definitely want to look into and see if this would help make the build a lot stronger. And then kind of the last thing that I'm looking into is the electro damage bonus, because I do use Fischl as my support DPS, so mainly as damage dealing with her abilities. I don't really use her auto attacks a lot. Whenever I do use it, it will be in Abyss as a second. She'll be on my second team and she'll become my main DPS on the second team. So that's the only time she becomes the main DPS. And even then, she still only uses her abilities most of the time. I use elemental reactions primarily for my second team to deal most of the damage, while my main team is Diluc and he does physical and elemental, but it's not really too much on elemental reactions most of the time. Unless with Venti and swirl and using a swirl, of course, but that's for a whole different video about my team comp. And so here we're gonna look at the weapon I'm using. I'm using the Stringless. I feel like this is an extremely good bow for Fischl, just because of the elemental skill and elemental burst damage is increased by 24%. So we're already giving her more damage on that, and I'm pretty sure that also increases the damage for the just base damage for elemental mastery. I could be wrong on that. It could just be pure damage stat for the skill and the burst. But I think the more of course the more attack you have, this also scales a bit off of that, not too much. I think most of the percentage comes from how much elemental mastery you have and the percentage you get from that. So this is a really great bow for her. I think if you could get this bow, it would be literally one of the best bows. And then we're going to look at the artifacts. So here, the first artifact is the Trope Dawnlight. Of course, this is going to be always HP, so we don't really look at that stat as much, unless it's unless you could get the higher tier version of the artifact. But the defense is all right. Not something I would particularly want, but early in the game, this is not too bad because it does help you, sustain a little longer. So having defense is not the worst thing in the world. Like, if you ever get defense, I would not think it's the end of the world. If you get like 3 defensive stats, then yeah, that's kind of more something that you don't want. You definitely want a wide variety of different stats. You definitely want defense, attack, critical, elemental mastery, or like you don't want like 2 HP stats and like 2 attack stats. I feel like that's not really the way to go. But again, if that's something you like, then feel free to keep it. It's not bad at all. I just feel like it could be a little better, like a little bit more refined. But with the attack percentage, this is good. But with the rest of my artifacts, I got so much attack percentage that I rather would just have base attack than percentage at this point as a substat. Energy recharge, this is great. This is actually really good. This is something I would like. On most of the stats if I can't have either like attack, like pure attack, or critical rate or critical damage. And this critical damage is it's perfect. This is something I'm actually looking for. The next one, again, this is just the feather, which is always going to be attack, so we don't really look at that stat. The critical damage, this is perfect. Elemental mastery plus 40, this is amazing. Critical rate, again, amazing. The one that I may wanted to change would, if I would want this to change, have this as a pure attack stat, maybe plus 20 or more. I feel like that would definitely help. The percentage, just because I have so much percentage on the rest of these, like I'll show you real quick. So you already have 34% on all of these, and I'm pretty sure each percentage scales lower and lower. So it's good to have kind of variety instead of having full attack percentage, because I think it would overall bring the damage for the entire kit up. And so the next one is the Berserker Timepiece with the critical rate. See, this is one that I would say it's not the best. I don't really like the health percentage on a character I'm not building health on, because it won't scale that much higher. I don't think it's gonna still do good, but not as good as I want. So this is something I wouldn't want really. And then I already have so much defensive stats on other artifacts that this right here could this piece entirely could be better and changed in the future whenever I do find something. And I just don't feel like putting like elemental mastery or anything on this, because I think this is going to be, the timepieces are going to be, for all my characters, are going to always be attack percentage, unless it's a specific character that I'm building elemental mastery or defense. And then for this one, this is where I want the electro damage bonus actually procced on. I don't have any artifacts with electro damage, but this is something that I'm going to look into and see if the electro damage actually helps overall with the role that I have Fischl placed in. But Elemental Mastery plus 30, this is amazing. With the HP, this is still okay. There's nothing wrong with having HP. I wouldn't just throw it away. If this is like the only thing you have with attack percentage, then I would just keep it at this point in the game instead of having a blue. But again, this could be a lot better. So that's all I really could say about that. And then the energy recharge is good as well. Get her all a little quicker, do a little bit more damage, heal herself. And here, this is a great one. This is one that where the critical rate, critical damage is the only percent. This is the only place you could get the percentage for critical rate and critical damage, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to look into that and probably get more critical damage here in the future for her. But as of now, I have again more attack percentage with 25 plus attack. This is amazing actually. And then the elemental mastery, which is amazing as well. And these two stats, I would like them to change if possible. Again, it's not bad to have at the moment. She still has a little bit more sustain in her kit, so which is still pretty nice. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And then what we're going to look at next is actually the constellations. I do have the full constellation for Fischl. So whenever I do show the video here at the end with me just kind of using her and using Barbara, it won't be long. It'll probably be 30 seconds to a minute, just kind of showing her how I primarily use her. I don't use her as the main DPS. So I barely use the first one because I don't really use her basic attack much. Sometimes I do, but more or less I don't. And that's just more of like the Raven kind of helps you, but it doesn't really do any electro damage, so it's all right. It helps with the attack, but it doesn't do anything crazy. This is kind of one of the ones that you really want. If you could just get duplicates, is the Knight Rider does 200% more damage, and its AoE is increased by 50. So like whenever you summon it, it has a higher chance of actually proccing the attack, which is amazing. And it pairs really good with Ventiol, or just summoning it by itself and then using a Hydro user. Hydro user and Electric, I feel like it's probably the best combination to use, unless there's going to be a Magic Fire user in the future that you could keep proccing Overload. I feel like having a Hydro user with her really does help a lot. And then, of course, it just adds it by 3. This is probably one of the main stats that helps her sustain for a lot longer. It regenerates 20% of her HP. So, I mean, this is here. if you're building it really tanky, or like not tanky but a lot of HP, this is where this would come in clutch, because having a lot of health and then it would regenerate 20% HP would actually bring her health a lot. Just she could sustain a lot longer. So HP with energy recharge with this specific um, constellation would actually work out pretty well on that kind of build. But more or less, I feel like the attack percentage is more important and like doing damage with her. But again, you could try different things and see how it actually works. It doesn't hurt to actually try different builds and see how it actually works with specific characters. But the 222% as electro damage is amazing. This helps with elemental reactions and stuff like that. So. And then last one, but I think the most important, is the Oz stays summoned for 2 seconds, and whenever you're attacking somebody, he'll specifically attack that person. With electro damage, and he will shoot almost as fast as the person is attacking. So say I'm using Barbara and I'm just using auto attacks consistently. So auto. He'll hit as many times I do auto, do electrical damage, and on top of that, have the electro charge reaction being hit on a specific character. So it's proccing a lot of damage. And if you can hit multiple, so if it's raining, if you're hitting multiple characters, with a hydro, like the water effect, it just does a ton of damage to multiple enemies. And yeah, and I think also because of Oz doing electro damage as Fischl attack, I think it still counts as Fischl elemental mastery being out on the field. I could be wrong about this. If somebody could comment about that and probably update me on this. But I feel like it still does her elemental mastery while on the field. So if you hit Hydro, then the bird hits. I think it hits for her elemental mastery being on the field instead of, say, Barbara, which I'm going to show you here in a bit. But yeah, that's a constellation. It's kind of breakdown on kind of how that is. And then again, her talents. The one talent that I kind of want to look into is Lightning Smite. Because on top of the elemental reaction you're doing with the electro charge, this also procs another element. So whenever an elemental reaction procs, you do 80% of Fischl's damage as electro damage. So on top of the electro charge that you're doing, you're hitting 80% of her Fischl attack with Lightning Smite. So now you gotta. This is a lot of damage being output, and I'm gonna show you why she's going to be the main DPS on my second team for Abyss. And I did manage to clear out all Abyss through 8-3. I did most of the achievements and everything with this specific team. I'll break it down later, maybe in a different video on how I did it and stuff like that if anybody needs help. But yeah, that's mostly everything for Fischl. Now I'm going to get into the battling.
I hear the voice of fate.
So yeah, just stay tuned for that. Alright guys, so here, look, I'm now in Abyss at the moment. I kind of didn't want to talk at this part, I just wanted to show you, but I kind of want to explain on how I kind of use her as my main DPS for the Abyss. So here we have this, we would summon Oz, of course, we normally wouldn't miss. Again, just try to get as many of the elements that you want out. So if you have Barbara, this is why I feel like Hydro users come in clutch, of course Oz left, so here. He summoned Oz again, and now look at this damage. It's just nutty. And then on top of that, Barbara is a defensive healer. I have her as my more of a tank, so she could just sustain for a really long time, while Oz just helps with primarily most of the DPS. So here, we'll summon Oz again, and then we'll summon Barbara. And look how much he attacks, the electro charge. It's just all proccing. And this is why I have her. I'm gonna show you one more fight on the next chamber. All right, so here we're at the second half for 8-2. I probably won't be showing you the against the Pyro Recessive. I don't want to make the video too long, but I kind of just wanted to show you like pretty much the damage. Just against the Guardian itself as well.
Darkness, come! Oh, no.
Don't think Barbara is doing most of the damage. She's not. She's just helping proc the electro charge, which probably does most of the damage. And look, you just summon him again. Yeah, of course, you could use everybody else, do more damage on top of that, and just kind of trying to show you Fischl and Barbara. But my build is not done. There should be a lot more damage, but
Midnight Phantasmagoria.
right now there's gonna be more damage, but as you can see, it's a work in progress. I'm pretty happy with it. It does a ton of damage. I mean, her basic attack still does damage as well. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys really did enjoy the video, remember to just leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, stay tuned for the next video.